Welcome back to part 2. As we were saying, I get to the bottom of my list and I realise that I could create a scatter plot. So back in my assignment, I might write a sentence that says, I'm going to construct a scatter plot. But don't just pick anything willy-nilly. You have to have a reason behind why you're using a scatter plot. So in my situation, I'm going to actually measure and display the different traffic light wait times, because I know traffic lights are going to have a big impact on how efficiently I can get to the Q1. So I'm actually going to plot wait times at traffic lights depending on the time of the day, and I'm going to do this in order to see if there is any kind of relationship between the time I leave school and how much time I spend in traffic, because that's going to help me decide, well, if I leave at this time of the day, I'm going to get to the Q1 in this amount of time. So to recap, this is broken into 3 parts. What I'm going to do, I'm going to use a scatter plot. How I'm going to use it, that's this bit here in the black. And then why I'm going to use it. If you haven't done those 3 steps, you haven't done this part properly. That's well and good that I've done one technique. I might go back and say, all right, well, I'm also going to use a network diagram and backwards scanning, if you're familiar with this. If not, don't stress too much. But rather than just say, I'm going to prepare a network diagram, I have to relate it somehow to the other mathematical techniques I'm using. So I might say I'm going to use a scatter plot. From these results, I'm going to interpret them into a network diagram to see if there's any more efficient, better way to get to the Q1 based on not only time spent in traffic, but distance as well. So the more of these I can pick out, the better, only if they relate to the task though, and only if they help enhance other techniques that I have used. So keep that in mind. Don't just put techniques in there as lists. You have to say why you're using them and how they help each other solve the problem. And lucky last is my use of technology. Often we see a lot of students make statements such as, I'm going to use a calculator, or I'm going to use Excel to display a graph. Again, this isn't enough. You're just listing things you're going to do. You haven't told me why you're going to use them. You haven't told me how you're going to use them. So you need to start by saying, I'm going to use Excel in order to construct a graph. I'm going to use Excel to construct a graph because that is going to then help me calculate a standard deviation with greater accuracy and minimal errors. So I haven't just said what I'm going to use, I've said why I'm going to use it and how it makes my results more reliable. Otherwise, there's no point using technology when you can just do things by hand. Finally, once I've figured out my plan, I then go and write it up in this format here. So this is part 1 of my assignment. You can see these all start with 1s and then I've broken it into the subcategories. I hope this helps you and good luck with your assignment. Bye.